medication I've been on in the past has been chlorpromazine, stelazine, cogentin.
Remeron, Celexa, Wellbutrin,
Topamax, Lamictal,
Prozac, Zoloft,
lithium,
Risperdal,
Apreval,
Lamotrigine,
Trazodone. There's been so many, I can't remember them all.
I've been on 2 antidepressants that I had to be taken off of. First was Celexa, which made me impotent, and so I didn't have a sex life, and it really caused lots of problems with my partner in the relationship. It was something that I wasn't ready for, and it impacted my life where I didn't feel very good about myself. I seemed to lack control of the situation until the meds were changed.
I told the doctor, I says, this stuff is not good. He says, what do you mean? I said, it affects I got no feeling from the waist down. I can't pee, I can't do anything right. It hurts. It's supposed to be for the mind, not supposed to do my body in. I couldn't walk, I had no energy, I felt no anxiety, I felt no depression, but hey, I know how to deal with depression and anxiety. I don't know how to deal with no feeling from the waist down.
At one point of time, it was like I was in a medication straitjacket. I was just totally oblivious to everything that was going on.
The bad news is that this medication has a profile with something called metabolic syndrome. And the average weight gain in this medication is about 45 pounds. I topped off at about 35 pounds in the first year. And not only is there enormous weight gain and the slowing of the metabolism, but there's also just almost beyond belief cravings for sweets, for carbohydrates, and so on. In addition to the metabolic syndrome that it causes, it also seems to play havoc with the metabolism as it relates to cholesterol. So, and these issues are more than just kind of wearing nice clothes and so on. They actually have a health impact vis-a-vis cholesterol, diabetes, and so on. I had tremors, I had vomiting, I had medications and combinations of medication where it felt like the inside of my brain was on fire, where it was like there were electrical wires in my brain that were on fire. I could smell smoke. I could actually smell smoke.
There are other things too. I have this side effect where my legs are get out of my control, and I'm pacing and crossing my legs and doing things like pacing. It's like like this. And the doctors told me that it's involuntary. It's because of one of the medications. Because it is quite embarrassing. People have noticed it at restaurants and things like that, and have asked me why do you do this? And I'm also worried about going back to work. I teach, and it's very important to have the right presentation in the classroom. And so this particular side effect is one that might prevent me from teaching, and I'm very worried about that. Just flattening all over, of what you might call flattening the signs of life, of mental life, of emotional life, of spiritual life. All those things have been flattened. I'm a Christian and I can't seem to pray. That's been flattened away.
Like it's such a big effort to get off the couch to go to bed and, have a little routine before going to sleep, and the hell with it, just go to sleep. It's just, the word I can put into is immobilize.
And I don't think that's right. I don't think a medication should do that to a person.
Some of the antidepressants I found made me more depressed because of the side effects. I've gained tons of weight on them, or become more lethargic on them, where you have no energy to really do anything. Then there's other medications, such as in the past month or so, when I was re-prescribed the Risperdal, I started to feel racing again, and I was starting to fear that I was going to actually go into another hypomania.
So yeah, side effects, fear of side effects. Also, I suppose just having it, kind of building up in your body. What is it doing? So I guess like a kind of a bit of an unknown. What's really going on?
For myself, more the low has more of an impact on my life than the highs. The highs are sort of easy to deal with in a sense, but whereas the low, I become suicidal, and it's really hard to deal with. I refer to myself when I'm going through the dark side of the down is Mr. Gloom. I'm not a very happy person.
I was simply breathing in and breathing out. I had ceased to have any functional reason to live. And so dying was simply a logical extension of no feeling, no emotion, just psychic pain day in and day out.
Big black hole, and it just seems like no hope, and you're never going to get out of it. And like I deal with suicidal thoughts almost every damn week, and lots of times I don't care if I live or die, and I don't understand it. I have so much to be thankful for, but I don't care. I don't care if I died today.
But when I went into work, it almost seems like every sound in the building was amplified. You heard the freezers running, the PA system, people calling other people. I couldn't stay focused at my job. I was up and down like a thermometer. I could go and talk to a neighbor. Things would go tickety-boo. Maybe an hour later, or maybe even the next day, I'd go back and all hell would break loose. It turned into an argument, like a neighborhood argument. Oh gosh, I bet you I spent 2 years laying in bed. I couldn't handle stress. If the kids got in an argument or a fight or something, I had to lay down. I got so bad that even when we had company come to the house, I wouldn't eat with the other people in the house. I'd have to go to bed.
I can feel anything from completely lifeless and suicidal to racing, and just I have this endless amounts of energy, and I can be up for days, and the things I can take on and tasks I can start but usually not complete are endless. So it really just varies.
Like you drink a glass of wine one day, right? It's mediocre wine, but it's okay, you like it, and you just sip. And the next day it tastes like the elixir of the gods. My doctor, listening at 88, he tried to convince me, I was just like him. Skinny, good looking, very active, hyper. I said, no, there's something happening here. I said, it's like I'm on the run with a train. I said, am I making this happen? Or has this happened to me? And I'm sometimes convinced that I've made it happen, but I don't know how. The blueprint's gone, you see. But if I say I've made it happen, I have some more control over it. It's not like a devil jumping down my neck.
It's it's very hard to describe. It can be painful. I found, it's like having flashbacks and stuff too. Always flashing back. It's almost like, you're kind of stuck in yesterday and stuck in the future, and the right now is not going well. It's hard. You just get into conspiracies. You think, well, there goes a person. He's got the same color shirt on as I do, and he's out to get me. He's out playing head games and stuff like that. And it got to the point where you're watching TV and you think everything evolves around you. And I don't like that feeling. where everything that's going on you're responsible for in the world. You think that you're in control of the weather sometimes. Other times you're watching the TV and you think, oh, you know, they're doing something. And
the best thing about the meds is I can function better. I'm better off with them than without them. And the type of medication that I'm taking is dealing more with the issues that I need to deal with, as opposed to me self-medicating. Self-medicating has really helped me at all. It's sort of blinded the issue.
I think what the medication really does is it gets me to a point where I can take care of myself, where I can, you know, implement things and take care of myself and make decisions and seek help and all of those things. And so I think it just gets me, you know, sort of to a point where I'm buoyant, and then I have to do the rest, really, and at least that's what I'd like to think. I wouldn't want to feel like I was dependent or that the work I do doesn't count. I mean, I think what I do does matter. I think I can make myself sick on the medication if I chose to. I think I could do that. But of course, if I wasn't on the medication, I wouldn't know how to make myself well. So that's a little bit of a dichotomy maybe, but...
Within 48 hours of being tried on this medication, I woke up in the hospital because I was on suicide watch, and I knew with absolute certainty that the depression was gone, just gone. And what that feels like when you know that is that you know with absolute certainty that you are normal. And that feels like perfection. It just feels like you have found yourself again. I often say to people, it's like this steel gray curtain that had surrounded my life for 15 years was just separated. Just like it just was pulled apart. And I got to see color again. And I got to hear music again. And I got to taste food again. And I got to hold my children again and know what that felt like. It was just a gift. I was given my life back again.
I really think that, you know, having gone through this extended period of mania and psychosis, I, you know, think that in a sense I was dying. I don't know if I would physically have died, but if I had not had the benefit of medications, I would have died, I think, as a person. I would have gotten worse and worse. Coming back to some kind of lucidity where I wasn't in this psychotic haze, that is a miracle. It's a miracle, I think, to do that, to come out of that psychosis and to suddenly be less frightened and to suddenly be able to see things as other people do.
Usually the antidepressant eventually in time gives me some motivation to try and do something. The antipsychotic drugs in time take away the voices or take away the racing anxiety. So I find they take away the negative effects, the effects that make me feel uncomfortable within my illness. I can function. I can go to work 40 hours a week. If my friends want to do something, I can do something. I don't snap at people. I feel like I'm me, the person I was brought up to be, the person that I used to like.
Some people go off their medications because they just aren't getting well soon enough. The illness keeps reinforcing the messages that it's not really chemistry, it's really you. It's really you. It's you. You're the problem. I think there's still a pervasive belief in society messaging that these illnesses aren't really illnesses. They're really kind of existential personality, post-Freudian problems of people's lives, and if we just figured out a way to Dr. Phil ourselves, we'd all feel better. Somehow there's this kind of anti-drug, not anti-drug in anything else, but when it comes to the brain, there's this kind of anti-drug. The other reason people go off medications is that they actually start to feel better. And then they say, well, I'm feeling better, I don't need to do this anymore. Have I wanted to? Sure. Every year I go back to my doctor and I say, so what do you think? You know, I have a wonderful life, I have a wonderful life partner, I have grandchildren, I work at the Mood Disorders Association. I'd love not to be on a perpetual diet for the rest of my life. I don't want to be on this other medication because it's got its own side effects. I would love not to be on this medication. And he explains to me every year how this works in my brain chemistry. And even if we reduce the dosage incrementally by, 0.001% to try and wean me off, and I started to feel ill again, there's a 20% chance that raising the dosage back up, I might not get well again. I'm not prepared to take that chance. I have my life back. I have my health back. I'm not prepared to take that chance with my life.
I think for a lot of people, they just figure they don't need them. That's probably the main thing. And I think they probably think, well, I don't need them, there's nothing wrong with me. I did, but I actually did it with doctors. It was interesting because I talked to my family doctor and I talked to my psychiatrist, and the idea was like, okay, well, maybe you can check this out. You're an adult, and so I discussed it with both of them, and then I saw an expert who said, don't do it. And I said, oh, what do you know? You're only an expert. Not to his face. And then I did gradually go off. I gradually went off the Tegretol. I didn't even go off the lithium, and I wasn't even off the Tegretol, and I completely had a full-blown manic episode.
So many reasons. I've done it so many times. Sometimes I've heard from others, it's a test. It's almost like kind of like battling yourself. Like, can I really do this? Can I win? It's a game for some people. Sometimes really the side effects are too severe. It's difficult sometimes when you start to get tremors or just different things that are more abnormal to you, you feel, than the illness itself. I think too, the stigma. If you take medication, you are therefore admitting that there's a problem, that there's an illness. If you don't take it, there's nothing wrong with you. I think that's another big one. To my recollection, probably about 3 or 4 times. Once, the most extreme was when I had an individual who I was dating at the time who told me his mother had bipolar disorder, and so he knew all about it. And that I didn't have the illness, so he didn't understand why I was medicated. So at that time, very naive, I listened to him and I went off cold turkey. And within a matter of 3 weeks, I had a psychotic episode while I was at work, and then was admitted into hospital for 3 days before Christmas. The other couple times I possibly did it, I think it was sometimes out of forgetfulness. I think sometimes when I was just too depressed or too manic, you just don't remember to take it.
I've went off my meds 3 or 4 times in my lifetime. Why? I figured that I didn't need them. Then when I didn't need them, then I crashed. But the simple fact is, I don't know. That seems to be a common problem with people. They go off their meds. But as they start going out of your system, then all of a sudden, you're going off key again, but you don't say nothing. It's your loved ones that are saying, oh man, he's off his drugs again? And they're trying to tell you, are you taking your meds? And honestly, I've lied to my wife saying, oh yeah, I'm still taking my meds. And I wasn't. But who was I kidding? I wasn't kidding anybody.
I would rather not take any lithium at all and take the chance and find out how much I know about bipolar. Can I, by sheer will, can I change the chemical structure of the brain or what it produces? Maybe.
Drugs can relieve some of the symptoms, but they don't take everything away. And I found that by finding God, that is removed, you know, a lot of that for me.
You know, having enough money so you have a place to live and you have good food and you don't have the wolf at your door and you're not just completely stressed out about basic things. I think being having creative and work has been really essential. I just think exercise is really, really huge. Nutrition, and I think generally being able to have some control over the speed, quality of your life, like the pace. So support people who understand you and love you and don't judge it. Don't see it as a weakness, I guess. And I think also attitude. I think in a way, I don't think at this point that I stigmatize myself too much.
Personally, I think one of the things that has helped more than anything is to talk about my illness. To talk about it as separate from me. I am not a depressive. I am Karen.
If they have the option of having a social worker, to have a social worker and get all the help they can, and to admit to themselves that they have an illness and that they need the meds. The meds are a godsend as far as I'm concerned, because as most of us know, many years ago there were no such things as medications, and terrible things happen to people with mental illnesses. Anybody who wants to end it all, just God's sake, reach out, phone somebody, because I know what that's like. I've half-heartedly tried, but well, I just say at the end, while there's life, there's hope.
Having people encourage me to continue to grow as a person, as an individual, and that what I want out of life and my goals for a career are something that could be sound. Going to bed at a regular hour, getting enough sleep, eliminating as much caffeine in my diet as possible.
I go to a group and I find it's helped immensely. It's probably been one of the keys in my recovery, and my stability is I find that I'm allowed to discuss my issues.
I've made myself some tools, basic simple tools. I have an orange every morning or an apple, and I have a fish oil capsule. I'll take the dogs out, even if I feel terrible. But if I lie down, I still feel terrible, and I'm not getting anything done. And walking is the best. It's the best thing to do because it doesn't cost anything. You put one foot in front of the other. And when you walk in snow, you look behind, you see your tracks. That's history already. There's part of your pain there. Gone. It works every time. If I could bottle it, I would sell it. You can only go so deep in a swamp full of excrement before you hit bottom, then you have to come up laughing. It's the only way, you know? And don't want to use the word fight back, there's nothing to fight back against, but to endure and make yourself tough. You will never be tough on others, you will be tough on yourself, you know? And you will have much pity and compassion for other people that are going through the same thing, and for other things. In other words, has a great potential to make a person a better person, or a dead person. That provides oblivion for a couple of 3 hours a day without having much residue. That would be the perfect medication.
One where you don't get that sedated side effect, jet lag through the daytime, where you be respondent to everything.
Would remove everything, all my feelings, you know, my resentment, my anger, my insecurities, you know, everything like that.
Anything that will kind of get you to the point where you can take control.
I think almost like time-leveled sensor just for your body makeup.
Happiness all the time without anxiety.
I think it'd be kindness.
You could just think about it, and it would somehow come to your rescue and save you.
Medications that are targeted, that are laser-like in their accuracy. That's my dream.